So we have the first skin, storefront Revit with mullions. We added this because that's the element that fixed the curtain wall, vertical mullion, to the horizontal structure. And now we are going to design the second skin. So to design the second skin, what do we need? We need to go to the plan and we need to figure out where this second skin is going to be. So that's remember that you created this reference plane because that's the midpoint of the first skin, the first curtain wall. And now we need a gap here, we need a cavity, and that cavity has to be at least wide enough for people from maintenance go walk on this cavity. So what is that distance? It can be 3 feet. So let's do that. I'm going to copy this reference plane like 3 feet away. Can be 3, 4, 2.5 feet, whatever. But 3, I think it's easy to remember. So that's the curtain wall, and that's the curtain wall 2. Okay, so we have double skin. That's the first skin, and that's the second. So now we have the grid lines here, and we have this curtain wall as a reference. And I'm going to try to do something crazy, and then I will go for something even crazier than the first option. Let's see. So I'm going to create a mass, and then I'm going to divide that mass. Then I'm going to create a family with a curtain wall with mullions and glass, and I'm going to adapt this family to the crazy shape that I'm going to create. Okay, so let's do it. We are on level 15. We're going to go from level 15 to level 30. Okay, so we are where's level 15? This one. So I'm going to work in this gap, okay, between level 15 and level 30. We can do it from level 0 to level 45, but I'm going to just to do something here. And okay, so I'm on level 15. I have here the 2 reference planes, the first skin, the second skin, and I'm going to create a mass. So you go to massing inside, so in place mass, and now I'm going to set the work plane on level 15. Okay, so that's fine. And now I'm going to create like the start and the radius arc. So I start here. And then I can be there. So I can create something like this. And then I end up here and I create something like that. Okay, so I have created a curve. And now I have to create a shape that it's like symmetrical to that. I will do something like this. But at a different level, on level 30. So if you go to level 30, then you set the work plane at level 30, okay? And now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to create this arc, first point, second point, something like that, and then something like that. Okay, if we go to the 3D view, now we can see that there are 2 curves, 2 different curves on level 15 and level 30. So now, following these 2 shapes, I'm going to create a mass. So let's select this, this, and now in create form, I'm going to create a solid form. Okay, So now you see that we have created a mass that is connecting two curves that are different in different levels, okay? If we finish the mass, now that's the shape that we have created, okay? So we're going to turn this into a curtain wall. If we edit in place that mass and we select this, here you see that we have this option, divide surface. So let's click here. And well, by default, we have this division. But here we can select different patterns. Okay, so we can have this pattern or octagons or hexagons. Let's stick to something easy, which is the rectangle. Okay, so we have divided this into rectangles, and now I can change the U grid and the V grid. So that means, look at this. This is a U grid number. It's 10. So if because there are too many, each line is going to be a mullion. So there are too many mullions there. So I'm going to divide I don't know if the U is the vertical and the V the horizontal. Let's find out. So if I change this to 5, okay. So yeah, so the U, it's the horizontal distance. So I have 5 elements here. And then the V, let's make it 5 again. Okay. So I'm going to change the U to 3. And the V, it's 5. Okay. We can have different divisions here, but just for consistency, we're going to make these 3 and 5. Okay. So we have a mass. We can finish the mass. And well, first we have to decide the pattern. So we have created a complicated shape. So with complicated shapes, try to create an easy pattern, because if you're doing something flat, then you can use rectangle. But combining complicated shapes with complicated patterns, it will be difficult. Okay, but it's up to you. Revit is for free. Then if you want to do that in the reality, good luck. And if you find someone who pays for it, perfect. So let's do it. We have this. And now we have to create mullions here. Okay, so we are going to work with the storefront with this family, but now we have to adapt these curtain walls to this divided mass that we have created. So how can I do it? I have to go to File. I have to open, and I have to open family. Okay, so if you open families, we have a curtain panel by pattern. And here we have this. Okay, so we have to create a rectangle. I don't know if it's this one, curtain wall panels. No. Yeah, I think it's this one, curtain wall by pattern. So this is the hexagon, the octagon. So if we are working with different patterns in the mass, we have to select the right pattern in the family. So in this case, I think this rectangle will work. Okay, so I'm going to open this one, the rectangular one. This value, I know you're using. Okay. So here you see that we have created a rectangular pattern. So that means that those lines that we have here, they will be adapted to the lines that we have in our in the mass that we have created. Okay. So this is new. Have you ever used this option in Revit? No. Okay. So this is something that you can work. So we are creating our own family. Okay. So when we are working with the storefront belongs to one of these families. So someone has created that family with the mullions, with the glass, and okay. So we're going to do something on our own. If we are working with something special, we have to do it. In Revit, we have things by default, but if we are creating our own shape, our own pattern, then we have to create our own family to adapt this to that pattern. Okay, so let's see if that works. Let's analyze this. So you see that here we have like points, and then we have like lines. Okay. So when we select a point, you see that we have different options. So basically we have three directions or three planes. It's very small, but we have a horizontal plane and a vertical plane like that, and then perpendicular vertical plane. And if we select this, those are lines that connect those dots. Okay, so here we have model and reference. I'll try to explain what that means. But now I want to create something that looks like a curtain wall. So imagine that this white rectangle is glass, and now I want to create the mullions. I'm going to do something very simple. And to do that, I want to set the work plane. And by selecting this, you see that I can select this horizontal or this vertical or this vertical. Okay, so I'm going to select the vertical plane in this direction. So I select this plane. And now I'm going to create a rectangle, or let's create lines first. So if I hover the mouse, I find the midpoint here. Okay. So I'm going to create a line that it's like 2 inches. 2 inches, and then I go down 6 inches, and then 2 inches here, and 6 inches up. Okay. And this is not what I want. You look at this. So I have selected the wrong plane. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to set the work plane because I want the work plane to be here. And probably I need to start working in this. Yeah, so I think that works. So this is 2 inches. This is 4 inches. And then 2 and 4. And it is not what I want. Interesting. Is it because I have to create a point here first? Let's try this. And now set the work plane. I want to set the work plane here. And now I want to create a rectangle. Okay, for some reason, I can't create a rectangle on this vertical plane. Okay, so I did it wrong the first time. So I have to go to File, New, and now I can open the new family. And then in English Imperial, I have this curtain panel pattern based. Yes, it looks the same, but it wasn't the family that I told you at the beginning. Okay, so you have to go to New Family, and then we have to go to English Imperial, and we have to insert this curtain panel pattern based family. Open, and that's it. It's almost the same, but we don't have the plane there. I think, do you have this family on your Revit files? Okay, if you don't, I'm going to upload this to Canvas. Okay, but this is the right family, and I hope that now it will work. You see that we have the same lines here. We have the same dots or points. And now I have to set the work plane. I'll set the work plane here on a vertical one. And if I create a rectangle now on this point, now it works. You see that this is a vertical rectangle now. So that works well. So this is the correct family. If you create this rectangle, we can type here the right dimensions. I wanted something 2 by 4. Okay, so this is 4, and this is gonna be 2 inches. And now I have to move it here. Okay, so I have a rectangle, 2 by 4. It's on a vertical plane, and I have used this point. Now, if I select the rectangle and I select the lines, I can create form, a solid form, and there you go. So we have the mullions. Okay, so you get it? I'll do it again. I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, so open this curtain wall pattern base whatever family, and first what we are doing is you remember the sweep. This is the sweep options that we used for creating the window and all that stuff. So we're going to create a sweep. We're going to create a profile here, which is going to be something very simple, a rectangle, and then we are going to extrude that profile not along a direction, but along a shape that it's the rectangle here, or yeah, so or the square. So first set the work plane vertical one. Okay. Then I'm going to create the rectangle. So I'm going to use line. So if I start on this point, I have to go 2 inches in this direction, then 4 inches in this direction, then 2 inches, and then 4 inches. Make sure that this is on a vertical plane. If we work from the front view, this has to be vertical. With the other family, for some reason, I couldn't do that, and it was working always in the horizontal planes. And now we have to use there is not a sweep option. It's even easier. I wish the sweep option in Revit, in the real Revit, would be as easier as this option, because here we only have to select this shape, then press Control, and we select these lines, and then we have to create form, and we have to create the solid forms. And now we have the mullions here. Okay. And this shape can be different. Now you can do this. You can if we select different things here and we filter, we have the reference lines and the curtain panels. Okay, so if I do this, I can edit the profile. So I can always change this. I can make it circular or whatever. Okay, so I have created a rectangle because it's something very easy. But you can always edit this profile and you can change the shape of this. I'm not going to do it. So here we have mullion. This material can be made of aluminum. Can I change the material here? Let's look at this. I can change the material. Okay, so here I can make this aluminum. I don't have aluminum, so I have to load open existing library. What the? Okay, so I should have the materials here. Okay, so metallic, and I do have aluminum. Somewhere. Okay, so select aluminum. Now I have forgotten where I am. Let's do it again. Material. Here we have something by default. But in material libraries, well, we have aluminum, glossy, apply. Okay. So now this element is made of this analytical panel. Or, anyway, you can change the material here. So now we need glass. Okay. So how can we create glass? Now we don't have to do anything. So we need to do the profile to create the aluminum. But for the glass, we can select these lines. Okay, the active lines. And then we can create a form. And we're going to create a solid form. So if I create this solid form, you see that I can control now the thickness. Okay, so I can do something very thin that it's made of glass. And now I can change this material, and we do have glass by default. So now I have created an aluminum frame and then glass there. Okay. So once we have this, we can load it into the project. We can override the existing version. And now that material or the curtain wall that we have created is here. How can we insert the actual curtain wall to that material? I can select all this. I can edit in place. And when we select this and we edit in place, here we have the patterns. If we click here, the family one, probably you will find different families that I have created here, but the default family is the family one. This is the one that we have just created, okay? So if I click on family one, then I have the mullions and the glass that I have created there. If I want to do it again, I select this, go to family one, and this is the curtain wall that I have created. Is it perfect? Well, it's not perfect because this is a complicated shape. So we have to keep that in mind that it's not perfect. It's solid. It's made of aluminum. It's made of glass. These connections are not, so don't zoom in because when we are trying to adapt something that is rectangular to a shape that it's curved. So this connection is not perfect, but I mean, to take a good screenshot of the building, I think we can get by. So we're going to create a more complicated family now. So what kind of family I want to create? Recording. I'm going to set the work plane vertical. Now I'm going to create a line. Let's make it 2 by it's 2 inches, not 2 feet. 2 inches. Inches, 4 inches, 2 inches again, and that's it. Okay. Select the shape, control, select the lines, create form, solid, and we have this element. Okay. But now we have to create the pyramid. So to create the pyramid, I can select this point element, but there's a difference between the reference and the model. Okay, so if I click on model and if I insert this, when I select this, that's it's a point, and I can move it. Okay, but when I click reference and I select a point, now this point has other options. Okay, so there's a difference between this and that. We can tell the difference, but there's a difference between reference points and model points, and reference lines and model lines. Let's try to do it. First, we're going to create a reference point. I'm going to place it here, and now I'm going to move it. Okay, so this is what I mean. You see that when we create a reference point, we have this element. Okay, so there is like a plane is associated to that reference point. So what I'm going to do is to create the reference point here somewhere in the middle. Okay, so we have a middle point here. So let's select this midpoint. And now we're going to move it up. Okay, so if you look at the front view, you see that we have this. Okay, so we can move it up or down, whatever. So make sure that it's in a different plane here. And now we have to select reference lines. Okay, so if we select the reference line, then we connect this point to this point. And then we can connect this to this, and we can connect this to that. So if we select this line, you see that the reference line, it's something that is connected here. The problem is that I don't have the right snap. Okay, so if I want to create a reference line, okay, so we need to, I didn't get that snap point, so I'm creating this as the end point. And now I want this one, but it doesn't work. What the? Reference line. Make sure that we have the 3D snapping. Good observation. And now I have to select this point, that point, and now I'm going to complete the triangle. Okay, so I'm doing this and I complete the triangle this way. So by doing this, I can create these two reference lines that are connected to each other. Okay. Now things are getting more complicated because every time I select a reference line, I have three planes. Okay, so a reference line, we have the vertical plane, we have the horizontal, and then we have the vertical plane in other direction. When I select this line, you see that I have three perpendicular planes. We have a plane, we have this one. Maybe if I set the work plane, you see that I can set the work plane, this one, or I can set another work plane that it's perpendicular to that, doesn't show up, or I can set a plane that it's parallel to this. Okay. So what I want now is to create a shape, and then I want to sweep that shape along these three or these two green lines that I have created here. So let's try to do it. I'm going to create a circle now, a tiny circle, and I'm going to place my circle. Probably I need to place a point here, a point here. And now I'm at this point, I can create a circle, but I have to set the work plane here. You see? Okay, so that's the right thing to do it. I have to create a model point. Then I have to set the work plane on a perpendicular plane to that green line. That's it. And now I can create the circle. Let's make it 1 inch. Okay, so I have a circle that is perpendicular to this green line. And this green line has to be a reference line because now I'm going to select the circle. I'm going to select the reference lines, and I'm going to create a solid form like this. Do you have it? Okay. I'm going to delete what I have done. And I'm going to keep working with reference lines here because the thing is that now we have to create different frames. Glass, because this is going to be a curtain wall made of glass. So it's something that needs a frame. Yes. So if we want to connect two different planes of glass, theoretically, we can do it with silicone, but if we have a frame, it's easier. Okay, so if we have a glass frame, if it's a triangle, or we have a glass panel that is a triangle, then we need a frame around this triangle. So we have this frame at the base, so that's fine. But now, if I have a pyramid, I need to create different frames because I want to create 4 different triangles. Okay, so I need to repeat this operation that I did with these reference lines, but I need to repeat it here 4 times. So let's do it. Reference, line, 3D snapping, and this is the first point, this is the second, this is the third, and then I want to close it here. Okay, and now I'm going to do it again. First point, second point, third point, and fourth. And the last one, this one. Okay, so now I can work with these 2 lines, or I can work with these 2 lines, or I can work with these 2, or with these 2. And now if I do the same, if I insert a point here in the middle, if I set the work plane like this, and if I create a circle 1 inch, now I select this, I select this line and that line, I create a solid form, and this is what I want. What if I want to create another solid form here? Then I need to create another point, this one. Then I want to set another work plane here. Then I want to create another circle, 1 inch, and select this, select the lines, create form, a solid form, and now I have the pyramid here. Okay. Are we done? Not yet, because we have frames and now we have glass. So if I want to create the glass, I have to select 3 reference lines, 1, 2, and 3. I want to create a solid form. And here in solid forms, sometimes you have this option. This is a volume and this is a plane. Okay, so if we select volume, we have this volume, but if we select this one, it's just a plane filling the reference lines. So I recommend you do the plane if you want a glass, because now if we can change this material to glass, and it's a transparent thing. Okay, let's do it again. First reference line, second reference line, third, create form, solid. We can create the, yeah, so it's here. So I want this option, the plane. Now, change the material to glass. And we have that. So let's do it again. First reference line, second, third, create form, solid. And for some reason, the option of 2D or 3D doesn't show up here. Why not? Okay, if it doesn't show up, you can always make a thin layer, and then you can select it, and we can change the material to glass. And finally, first, second, third, solid. We don't have the, why not? Okay. So let's make it thinner. Let's change the material. And there you go. Okay, so now we have a new family. It's made of glass. It can be better. I mean, we have to fix this detail. Okay, so probably we can make it better, but I think this is difficult enough for today. And now we can save the family. File, save as, a family, and I'm going to name it pyramid. Curtain wall. And now we can load it into the project. Which project? I have two projects here. We have the rectangular curtain wall, but I want to upload it on the file, on the Revit file I'm working with. Okay, and now if we go to the 3D view, if we select that guy, the family should be there. Okay, so along with all the families that I created before, the family 6, family 4, here we have the pyramid curtain wall. So that's the family that I created today. I do this, and well, it's not bad. So it's difficult when we have a complicated shape. This connection, it's going to be always difficult. Okay, but at least we have the family. We have a family there that we can load again. So as I told you, as a piece of advice, complicated shapes with simple families, complicated families with simple shapes. So I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to create like a flat mass, because in order to do this, we have to create a mass first. Okay, so we have to attach our family to a mass. So first we have to create a mass. The first mass with this curvy thing with two different curves on level 15 and level 30. So I'm going to create something that it's flat now. Okay. So let's do it. Let's get rid of this. And now on level 15, I'm going to create a mass inside, in place mass. Okay, make sure that the work plane it's level 15. And I'm going to do something very simple, just a line. Okay, so from this point to that point, I have a line. And now on level 30, I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to set the work plane to level 30, and I'm going to create another line exactly the same, this one and that one. And if I go to the 3D view, what the heck is that? I'm going to do it again, level 15. Set the work plane on level 15 here. Well, probably if this is something flat, there is something even easier. We can create a solid form. And as you can see, if I create a solid form, if it's flat, I don't have to create the second mass. Okay, so that will work better. So now I select this, I can divide the surface. I can create the same rectangular pattern. I can change the number of grids. So let's say, I think the horizontal was 6. No, that's and then the vertical was 3. That's the other way around. 3 and 6. Okay. So now on this mask, I can insert the family that I just created. Where is the pyramid? I don't know. I think I have to insert it again because I deleted it, load into the project. Okay. And now if I select that, I should find the pyramid family here. Okay. And that is going to be better in terms of these connections. Well, it's not perfect, but it's not as weird as it was the other one. I'm going to create a crazy roof now. So on the east elevation, I'm going to go to a mass, in place mass, okay? And I'm going to set this work plane on grid 3. And I'm going to create like a spline. Okay, so on the 3D view, on grid 3, I have that spline. Then I'm going to do something different on grid 1. This is grid 3, grid 1. And I'm going to create another spline. I'm going to start and I'm going to add to end at the same point. It doesn't have to be necessary like that, but I think it will be better. So I have two completely different shapes. Okay. So now if I select this one and select that one, I can create a solid form. Okay. And now let's divide this with a pattern that is made of hexagons. And finish. Okay, so now we have a complicated shape with a complicated pattern. How can we do that? Can we upload on this pattern the families that we have created so far? We can try, but I don't think it will work. So here we have family 1. If family 1, it was created with a pattern, with a rectangular pattern based, and Revit is smart. Okay, so what are you trying to do? Are you trying to create a rectangular family into an hexagonal pattern? No, it doesn't work. So the only way we have to do that is to create a new family, curtain, panel based, whatever. But if we are here, and we select the grid, here we can change the pattern. So we can change the pattern to hexagons. Okay. And now we can do exactly the same thing that we did before. We can insert a midpoint here. We can set the work plane at something perpendicular on this point. And I'm going to create a circle, like 2 inches. This is 2 feet, sorry, it has to be 2 inches. 2 inches. That's it. And now I select the circle, I select all these reference lines, I create the solid form, and now I have an hexagon. I can save it, create, file, save as, family, and this is the hexagon. And now I can load it into the project. And it will work now, because if I select this element now, I edit in place, select it again, and now I have the pattern and the hexagon. Where is it? Oh, yes. So it's underneath the family, the pattern hexagon. So I have the hexagon family. So if I select that and I finish the mask, now it has a thickness. If I think it's too thin, and that's what it seems, I can always select the this, I can edit the profile. And where the hell was the circle? Here. So I'm going to make it like 6 inches. I think that looks better. And I'm going to load it into the project again. I have to override the existing version. And now the 3D view, it has, yeah, it's thicker, and I think it looks better. It's a thicker thing. Okay, but this option, it's powerful. It's something that leads us to what we call a parametric design. Okay, so if we are into this, it's a dangerous path to walk. Okay, but if you want to do it, you can do it with Revit. Okay, so it's just a question of creating the mass, and then we have to create the pattern, and then we have to insert the family that we have created, and we can do this easily. Okay, so that's what we have done. We have created a roof that it's made of hexagons, like that one. Again, it's dangerous. So everything that is dangerous is attractive, but we can fail easily if we get obsessed with these kind of things. Okay, so try to. It's good that you know how to do it, and it's good that if you know Revit, there's a way to do that. It's not difficult. It's just creating a mass and then creating the family with a pattern that goes well with that mass. But we have to be experts on this kind of architecture, because otherwise, if we are dealing with regular architecture and suddenly we insert something that is weird, we can fail in our design projects. Okay, but there are remarkable examples of architecture doing this. My favorite is there was the Olympic Games in 2008. You were in this world, so you were born at that time. Okay, perfect. So there's the swimming pavilion, Olympic Games in Beijing. Okay, so it was the first time I saw something like that. Okay, so it was like shocking. We had never seen something like that before, and well, that is a remarkable example of this kind of parametric design. What is the material? Because as you can see, the material is semi-transparent or something like that. That material is very interesting. This is FT. Okay, so it's a plastic. It's not something solid. Well, it's solid, but I mean it's plastic. So you can give the plastic that shape, and it's inflated. Okay, so it's like a balloon. So you have a air cavity, you inflate the air cavity, apply pressure, and then it has this shape. So what do you need? First, you need a frame. You need the frame, and then you need this material so that you can have this architecture. I told you that that was the first time I saw that, and then I saw it with, in the Allianz Arena in München. This one. So I've been here. This is a soccer field. And well, again, it was something outstanding because we had never seen something before. And since it's translucent, it's not opaque, it's transparent or translucent. You can have this lighting effect with the artificial light, which is something outstanding. Okay, so that works well in this kind of arenas, huge buildings, the Olympic stadiums. That works well. If you try to do something like that in a single family house, no, I wouldn't do it. But in this kind of huge projects in which the facade is something important, I think this kind of material and this kind of parametric design, it works well. Okay. But again, it's a dangerous path to walk, and you have to be careful when you are doing this. Okay. But Revit can do it, and it's quite easy. Advice: simple shapes, complicated patterns, complicated shapes, simple patterns, and I think that's the key to success in this kind of architecture.